Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Mazza Show, the show where I find people of interest in the online communities and sit them down for an interview. Today, I've only gone and found an old friend of mine, Billie Eilish superfan and the Super Monkey Ball speedrun extraordinaire on YouTube, Goober13md. Goober, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello. I think you introduced me perfectly. Monkey Ball speedrunner extraordinaire, and yeah,
Billie,
that's
Billie
pretty
Eilish
much all I
superfan,
have
yeah.
to my name.
But as I mentioned, Goober is actually an old friend of mine. Goober, could you quickly relay to the people how we met?
Yeah, so I'm at 13. I think must have been about end of 2015, maybe early 2016. 13 here played a big part in the hit YouTube classic speedrun drama, um,
Yep.
which I think was one of Retro's first endeavors on YouTube.
I believe. I'm not sure if Retro would be happy with us speaking about this, but we're going to speak about it anyway.
Yeah,
Because
well, I mean, somebody linked an episode of Speedrun Drama in the Monkey Ball Discord. It might have even been the Skype group. It was that long ago,
Mm,
but I saw it. I thought it was brilliant. I joined the Speedrun Drama Discord, and that's where I met the likes of 13, Retro. I mean, we did have like mutual friends before then, but we
of
only
course,
really
yeah.
started knocking about in the Speedrun Drama days.
And of course, you yourself featured on speedrun drama a few times.
Yeah, I think the first time I was on the first Speedrun Drama live show.
Yeah, the podcast.
Myself and Adam Savage
Yeah, I do
hopped
remember
on
that
there.
actually.
I think we just heckled really. This was before we really knew each other, so it was a bit just strange.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but this clearly shows that you've got a much deeper history in the archives of speedrun YouTube than people probably give you credit for.
Oh, absolutely, that's without a doubt.
But speaking of speedrun YouTube, of course, you've made some hugely popular speedrun videos, mainly focusing on Super Monkey Ball, as we brought up earlier. But I just want to get onto that in a moment. But first, we're going to ask, when did you actually get into speedrunning? Whether it be watching or speedrunning yourself.
Well, Monkey Ball was really the game that got me into speedrunning. I think it must have been like Christmas in 2013, I got a capture card. And originally, my plan was to make Let's Play videos of my old GameCube games because, well, that's what I was doing at the time. And I think I was just looking for Monkey Ball Let's Plays on YouTube, and I just stumbled into it was the Monkey Ball 1 speedrun from GDQ 2013. And sort of after watching that, one thing led to another, and that's what got me onto the speedrunning scene, really.
Yeah, a game like Monkey Ball it just seems like a good speedrun game. Like it's got the in-game timer. I assume people, used to do time trials with that way back in the day.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, in the really early days, like, even the same year that the game came out, there was what was called the Monkey Ball Elite, ripping off obviously
Yeah,
the Elite for, like, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. But people competed for high scores, they didn't really care about times. But it's like Monkey Ball is built so well for people that wanna do high scores or speedruns because there's the in-game practice mode where you can play any individual level for as many times as you like, and then there's also a replay system in-game, so you can just save the replay of your high score, and then you can watch it back in the game as many times as you like.
it's very
Um
accessible for the speed.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, well, I mean, RTAs of Monkey Ball weren't really a thing until 2012, 2013, maybe. It was sort of more of a race game before then, there weren't many people properly grinding out attempts. People just like doing races, and that's what I was doing in the early days. I was just doing races because, well, Speedruns Live was in its prime,
You
and
say you started around 2013.
probably like January 2014, but sort of that time, yeah.
Yeah, you always want to give yourself credit for that extra year. There, I do the same thing.
Yeah, okay, I will say 2013 then, yeah.
so obviously you've been speedrunning for all that time. When did you decide you wanted to really invest some time into the YouTube scene?
Well, I mean, I've been making YouTube videos before I even had a YouTube account.
Yeah, but
um,
specifically for Monkey Ball and the speedruns. I know you have some
Specifically
old
for
Let's Plays on there. I've
speedrun
seen that.
Yeah, specifically for speedrunning, I think it was after watching Retro's first video, is like cheating in speedrunning one.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
actually made a cameo appearance in that one.
I do remember that very well. It was a good appearance.
I appreciate that.
But I sort of watched that. Saw the success of that video, and I thought, well, if Retro can do it, then I definitely can. No
No
disrespect to Retro,
disrespect.
sounded awful, but um, originally my plan was just to totally rip off his idea and do the same thing, except for Monkey Ball. And I was doing research into it. I was looking into how I'd splice the run myself, and it quickly became very apparent that making a convincing spliced monkey ball run was like way out of my realm of capabilities. So instead, I just made a video about why it's basically impossible to splice a monkey ball speed run. Pointing out all the things that give it away, and I mean, people seem to like it anyway. And I sort of wanted it to be, like, in contrast because there was Retro's video and Apollo Legends video, there might have been another one, but it sort of made splicing come across as, seemingly easy and easy to get away with, and they were sort of asking the question, like, how many people have got away with it? So I wanted to sort of throw into the mix a situation where, splicing isn't as easy as you might first think.
Yeah, I see. And did you anticipate the amount of popularity some of these videos gained?
Not really, to be honest. I think it took a few months before it really started picking up steam. I think it was April last year when I put that video up in like I think August 2018. So it was up for a good few months before it really started picking up steam. But it was that one of my world record progression videos which are the most popular. And it was really that month that just gave them the huge boost that put them where they are now.
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with the monkey ball community myself, but would you consider that to be quite a large community in the broader sense of speedrunning?
Well, it's not really you can't it's not comparable to, like, say, OOT or SM64. I'd say it's probably one of the smaller communities. Obviously not as small as games that have just, like, 1 or 2 runners, but Monkey Ball 1 in particular, which is what I focus on, is certainly a lot smaller than, say, the Monkey Ball 2 community.
You say if we were to compare it to like a PlayStation game, it would be on the level of like a Crash Bandicoot, a Spyro, that sort of level.
Um, Similar, but probably smaller, I'd say.
Well, either way, you've managed to gain huge amounts of popularity for some of these videos for it, so there's clearly a lot of people interested in the content you're putting out. I just wanted to ask though if we could take a quick detour. Because as the viewers can see from your Discord picture, you must be a huge fan of Billie Eilish, and I put it out myself. You are a super fan, but that wasn't actually always the case. I remember you used to be a Swiftie. A Swiftie, for anyone unfamiliar, is a term to describe a huge Taylor Swift fan. I just want to ask about each of them. What do you like about each of them?
Well, first of all, the Billie Eilish community, we call ourselves pirates, actually.
Pirates.
Um, which if you wanna know why that is, it's not hard to find out, but I mean, I can't really remember what got me into Taylor Swift, but, I was just a huge fan of her music and, everything about her, really. I find myself, very susceptible to becoming obsessed with particular celebrities very easily for very long periods of time. And sort of what ended it with me and Taylor is, the most recent album she brought out, I thought was, sort of politically motivated, and it was something that I don't wanna be hearing in my music. Any kind of politics, I don't wanna be hearing in my music. And I went on to Avril Lavigne for a little bit, but, um, she sort of she shoulda quit when she was ahead. She hadn't topped her first album, which came out in 2002.
Those are big claims. I'd like to see Avril Lavigne respond to this.
Yeah, if you could get Avril on the show the
Mazza
next
Show
episode,
episode.
I'd,
No, we'll get a few episodes and then we'll get Avril on for episode 5. But you did actually bring up an interesting point there about people putting their politics into their music. That's something that I've noticed. Do you think there's and this is we're detouring a lot from the speedrun stuff here, but do you think politics in general are becoming a lot more rife, especially like online?
well, I mean, it's definitely something that I'm seeing a lot more. I don't know whether that's just my own interest in politics growing, and so that's the sort of things that is being recommended to me and what have you. But yeah, I do suppose politics is prevalent in a lot of sort of the mainstream media nowadays, more so than it used to be. But as far as I'm concerned, my take is no matter what your views are politically, if you're stating them publicly on the platform that you've built up, there's going to be people that disagree with you no matter what your stance on the situation is. So personally, I just like to stay out of it because if you don't say anything, then you're not giving people anything to disagree with. So
Yeah,
it keeps
definitely.
it open to as wide of an audience as possible, really.
Definitely, like it's just poor optics to bring politics into things like this. But yeah, we've gone far off the topics. We'll try and move it a bit back towards towards speeder on YouTube and whatnot. But I do have one last question similar to this topic, and I want to ask: do you see any celebrity females worthy of fandom in the future?
I think I'm too fixated on Billie as it stands. I think she's a great young talent. She's got a great voice. Um, and she's got loads of potential. To be honest, I was when I first heard her music, I was quite surprised she's as popular as she is. Because obviously I understand the appeal because I love the music myself, but didn't strike me as the kind of thing that would be like the biggest thing in the music industry right now.
Yeah, I hear people describe Billie Eilish as indie or underground, and obviously that's fading away now. But when does it stop being indie and underground, and start being the mainstream music? Because she is like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I know she stated herself she doesn't want to sort of stick to one particular sound. She wants to keep experimenting with different things. And I suppose that's why you could sort of consider it as either of them maybe, but I don't really care. If the music sounds good, I'll listen to it and, that's how it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And experimental music does seem to be the trend right now. But anyway, back to your channel. Close things off here. But it seems like you took a bit of a break making content towards the end of 2019. Was there any particular reason?
It's just, I'd say that speedrunning itself is still a pretty niche topic to talk about. Obviously, like the big boss that, with say the likes of Todd Rogers and Billy Mitchell, they got a lot of sort of mainstream attention, but the
Yeah,
kind of videos that I make is pretty niche. And, it's kinda just difficult to come up with ideas, especially when I'm focusing on just speedrunning for one game. It's difficult to come up with ideas that would be interesting enough to warrant a 10-minute video, that would be interesting to not just the monkey ball community, but also the speedrunning community in general, which is
yeah.
I mean, the speedrunning subreddit is where I get a lot of my initial traction of the video.
So that certainly makes sense, yeah. Do you have any projects in the pipeline now that you want to talk about?
Well, I did the my goal for this year was to make a video every month, so I wouldn't sort of end up with the drought that I had last year. And the video that I had in mind for this month, I had the script written. I'd reached out to one of the old monkey ball players that was around in like 2002, 2003, and he got back to me and provided some hot scoopage that even the current monkey ball community will not know. Um, but for some reason, I decided that the record that I wanted to discuss in that video, I thought I'm going to get this myself.
Oh,
And 33 and a half hours later, I've come as close as you can possibly get 10 times. And so essentially, I've spent 33 and a half hours on 0 seconds of footage. So I've put that video on the back burner. I need to give myself a break. But
well, hopefully we can see you releasing this production in the future. It sounds absolutely intriguing.
yeah, I've not given up on it yet. You know, it was hard to take for the 10th time, coming as close as you can without success. But, I don't want to give up just yet.
I think definitely a fair approach to take. But lastly, I want to say before we wrap this up once and for all, it's been a great episode, of course, but I do want to ask one more question. Content has been heavily focused around Monkey Ball. I know you've dabbled in other things here and there, but do you see anything changing in the future? You think Monkey Ball is drying up?
Well, I don't think Monkey Ball's drying up, especially with custom levels being a pretty new thing for the game. which is something that I can sort of delve into. And obviously, at the present, I've been limiting myself just to the first Monkey Ball game, and I could, of course, expand. And it's totally on me, really. I've just been hesitant to do that because I'm too scared of making a video about something and just having, misinformation that was just because I didn't put enough time into researching it. And I feel like I don't know enough about the other Monkey Ball games or any other speed game to be able to make, the thorough in-depth analyses that I do um, without getting things wrong. And it's just something that I'm afraid of, but we can only see with time, really.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. I remember when I was speaking to Retro about this, he said he had some very similar points to you, where he just he was putting out a lot of experimental content. He wasn't too sure about it, but yeah, I can definitely see the struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I feel like I need to sort of grow my channel and grow an audience around me as a person rather than just the game and speedrunning, which is surprisingly difficult to do. But, we'll have to see what I come up with in the future.
Well, Goober, best of luck to you. It's been amazing speaking to you as always.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being on the show.
Being your boy Matt 13, and I'll see you all in a bit.